Get Into Geek. This is episode 114. We are talking Stargate SG-1, a bunch of veteran fans introducing a newbie to the show. Let's introduce the team. My name is Mitch. We got Matty.
Yow.
We got Brendan.
Hello.
We got Rhys.
Yeah, g'day, guys.
And... and we have the actor in the studio, and he just nailed his Rhys impersonation. But Lincoln, welcome back. It's been a while.
Legends.
Now, look, let's clear things up. I'm sure we would have loved to have you here anyway. We wanted you here anyway.
Yeah.
This is the start of the compliment sandwich.
Here we go.
It's just a coincidence that despite Rhys being the newbie that I've just mentioned, he's kind of the reason for the show. We're introducing him to the show. We're making a first in 114 plus specials podcasts. Rhys is Rhys is not.
He's no longer a part of the show.
I was going to say he's no longer allowed to be here today, which would make no sense. Is not able to be here today. He's actually away from work.
He's missed two before.
He's missed two. Well, no, he missed the Origins one, but he was here for a little bit.
Korai, and he missed.
He did miss Korai.
Or was it just Korai?
Yeah, you're right. It was
Just
Korai.
Korai.
Okay.
Korai in the Origin special. I
I think
think
everyone would have preferred to have missed
Yeah, I
that.
reckon.
I don't think he's actually gone back and watched it.
He's never watched it. Yeah.
But I just wanted to announce
right.
to the listeners that we're replacing Rhys this season with Lincoln.
Hey, it's the balls
You're
dropped.
the Jonas of the group.
Well, I don't know. Even worse for Rhys, because that means Rhys is the Daniel of the group, and he would hate that.
It's even better. Time to find out if Lincoln's been paying attention. Yeah.
So, without going to Rhys, which is usually the way that we go in this show, see what the newbie thought for the first time. Who would like to take this? What do we make of Descent?
I liked
boys?
it. I'm
It's
jumping straight in. I
good.
like it.
I like it a lot.
It's one of the few Jonas episodes I enjoy.
Yeah, for some reason I thought this was further along in the season because this is where I actually started to like Jonas.
Yeah.
So in theory, I only hated him for 3 weeks of my life, but it was so devastating.
Yeah,
It was so potent.
He was so potent it lasted forever.
It was a shot of tequila of hatred, and then
Oh,
after that, you kind
he's
of...
got plenty later on to hate him for, but at this point, this is a good episode.
It's a great
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Especially when he's diving down, Jonas, into the depths, and you're like, man, this guy can hold his breath.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, Jonas is a free diver. He's a scholar and free diver. This dude's got it all.
And no goggles, but knows exactly where everything is. Quick study. We've said that before.
I was going to say, is that quickly becoming his version
his superpower.
of the Carter? It's very advanced because I almost feel like it's just popping up in every episode now for the other characters to look at and get. We get it, mate. You can read fast. And
Yeah,
learn
well, this
quickly,
is Jonas's second superpower. He gets about 4 through the run of this season, but this is his first superpower, eidetic memory. Second superpower, can breathe underwater.
Aquaman.
He's Aquaman, basically. And he gets a few more powers later on that we'll discuss.
Maybe he should have gone to Atlantis then. A few episodes like that.
Yeah.
McKay could have used his help.
But I did notice something, though, is when he's in the banana scene, when he's talking with Teal'c and all that kind of stuff, he mentioned how he wants to impress O'Neill because it's his first mission. Where did they go at the end of the last episode then when they all walk through the Stargate together as a happy team?
Yeah.
Because we're the 4 best friends that ever...
In the titles credit.
Yeah.
And
What was that?
Do you think maybe he's referencing the fact that it's his first time in space as a mission?
Well, he didn't say that.
Yeah, no, he
just said
didn't.
it's his first
Teal'c
mission.
just forgot.
Mm.
Jonas was just background noise then.
Yeah, the mission itself, like I felt, and I watched it from the start. Like it wasn't like I came in 5 minutes late. I felt like where it starts that we'd missed a lot because, and it was like they were saving money from last week's, essentially last week's double feature, double header. That we're in the ship and they're talking about where they're going for this mission, and it's a car. We got Davis is on board. We got Jacob. Like they got all the extras, all the secondary features. Like this is great.
Jack's asleep.
Jack's asleep. Just comes, oh, what did I miss? And I'm like, that's so
Are we there
unprofessional,
yet?
dude. You're a colonel. Like, how do you get away? I'm like, that's what I love about this team. It's like, only we know what we've experienced. And we can get away with the fact that our boss sleeps in the job, even though we're in space going to fight potentially dangerous aliens. Like, it's all crazy. You should be taking this way too serious, but you're not, and it's fine because we all love each other. But they didn't ever show until the final shot of that sequence that they were... Like, I didn't realize. I'm like, they're outside of Earth. You know,
Yeah.
like I didn't get that from the
was
fact
kind
that
of-
everyone's on board this ship.
The only line that gave that away is that Jacob would have said, "Oh, I bet you everyone on Earth would have been freaking out about this." And she goes, "You have no idea."
Yeah.
So obviously they've gone to another planet, got the cargo ship, and travelled all the way back to Earth
Or is that-
to jump on it.
Is that our cargo ship, though?
Well, that's what I was wondering. But because the one that was with the Asgard, right? That's the last time
Yeah,
we
from
saw it in
Revelations,
Revelations. Was underneath the Asgard ship. So,
Yeah.
and that was, I thought that got broken down completely because Anubis shot it, and they were like, "Oh, that's the end of that." So I don't know if that's a Tok'ra ship
It
or
could
if
have
it's
been
our
that
ship.
Jacob just taken a Tok'ra one, but
Yeah.
in the Revelations one, I think they were taking some hits, and they were like, just one more will take us out, and that's when the Asgard ships rock up like three bulk ass big bitches,
Yeah.
and just like, all right,
And
you're here.
it was
Challenge us at your own peril, and Anubis is like, yeah, this.
Yeah.
And it was functional enough to like
Next time.
I would have gotten away from it with you meddling Asgard.
and it was functional enough to kind of like tuck itself in underneath the Asgard ship and even like
Yeah.
do a 180
Little maneuver.
and face around.
Yeah, so it was still going. So whether they've just sort of helped them fix that up,
And
or,
it's not like they needed the hyperdrive either, because they're really just going into like the moon orbit or something like that, wherever this Teal'c was. That for some
Yeah.
reason no one else on the planet knew about,
Yeah.
but we knew it was there.
got these amateur astronomers everywhere, and they can't pick up like Anubis' flagship ship.
Yeah.
But no, I actually liked the fact that you kind of have to put a few things together at the start of the episode. It's just them cruising out in space, and then they're saying how excited they are and this and that, and it's wicked because I love. It's kind of got everything that you love about these episodes. So you got some space stuff happening. You got the Jafar battles. You got them trying to figure out some sciencey kind of stuff, and then it brings it down to being an Earth base. And I know it's not in the SGC, and I know it's not on the land or whatever, but they've brought it back to Earth, so you still know, in your own mind that they're in Earth. They're underwater, but you're like, it's everywhere. That's awesome that you love seeing, your favorite episodes or whatever. You may go, oh, I love the space ones. I love this. It's got something for everyone. But yeah, and I don't know. I just think that this episode had so much depth to it. And yeah, you're right. You are left
Depth.
You went there.
I
We
did.
weren't going to leave that one.
No.
We weren't going to leave that one floating out there. I think Mitch is right though in that it was a money-saving endeavor that we didn't see a lot of the opening, and also in an episode called Descent, we didn't see the Teal'c crash and float down.
Yeah, right.
And I think that was money-saving because that whole water scene, like where O'Neill and Carter
they
are
had to
trapped,
pay
and then
pool
also-
entry.
Yeah, and then also where Jonas is later on.
And as a father, Brendan, you and I both know, it costs a
absolutely.
fortune.
No, I said
look
a
how little
family
they are.
pass.
That's what they had to
Family
do
pass.
because they had to recreate. So that's not the normal hallway we see. The normal hallway is obviously made out of plyboard and all that kind of stuff. They had to recreate one of those halls made entirely out of plastic and then took it to a pool.
No way.
And then so what they did is they mounted the camera onto the set and then they lowered the set into the pool, and that's how you see the water rising as
That's
they're going
cool.
through.
That's cool.
Did they do that in bait at all? Did they do that kind of stuff, or was it just lots of real water?
In Bait, they had two different sound studios, and the one that I was in, they took a story level size out of the ground, and then made a completely brand new underground car park. Just made everything, put a couple of fake cars in there, and then just flooded it.
Shit.
Yeah, and then once they were done with everything, did they go back and do the start of the film so they drained it all completely, and then they had this machine which looked like a single standalone sentry tower, which was they just tipped water down, and that's what come and smashed the car and all that kind of stuff. So they waited for the big stuff to the end, but yeah, they flooded it for the rest of it. And
And did you guys get warm water? Because these guys got heated water.
did they now?
Yeah.
Did they now?
No-
That's
no-
where the budget goes.
No shrinkage for an
Canada,
mate.
eh?
You see, we didn't get the heated water, and after about 3 days, that's when all the cars started, all the stuff come out, like it started to seep out of the cars and into the
Oh,
water.
yeah.
So by about the third or fourth day, the water was pretty murky.
And from memory, you got really sick off that shoot too, because you're like surrounded by
swallowed
water.
a lot of water. There was one scene where and they had it was when I get attacked by a shark, and they had an underwater fan, and this sort of that thing that can drag you along underwater.
Oh, little underwater jet skis.
Yeah, and they held that, and so to sort of simulate a shark sort of, I guess, tearing me apart or whatever. And I come up for a breath as it happened, and it's just all the water's just, and I've just swallowed it all and coughed it all up, and I was like, ugh. This was in the final week of shooting,
Wow.
and they're like, "You're all right," and I'm like, "Yep." I can imagine for these guys when you just said they're lowering the camera into the set and all that kind of stuff. Even though you're completely safe, I can imagine it would have been a pretty daunting thing, like.
Well, yeah, because they didn't have control of how they're going to get out. And there was no, air pocket for them to kind of swim up into either. They just had to wait.
You have
Apparently,
to trust.
Because it's an ages swim, apparently.
It's a
'Cause
what?
They had to swim for a long while to get out of the set. So
Yeah.
If they were running out of breath, they're pretty much they had to just be
Apparently-
like, turn up.
Apparently, the spot where O'Neill and Carter are going up to the top to reach, like that little air pocket up the top, that took about 7 or 8 takes because Carter like kept misjudging the distance and smacking her head on the ceiling.
Oh.
So then they would have to drain it back and do it again, and drain it back and do it again, to the point where O'Neill's is just like, really, what are we doing? Come on now.
Hold your breath.
Yeah. Seems like they like to take some risks with the Stargate team, you know. So in this instance, you had to trust the all the tech and all the equipment completely to ensure that 2 of your main stars don't drown.
Yeah.
Now that's one. That's one.
Yeah, it's like, don't drown your
Now
boss.
there's another part. Don't drown the executive producer / lead actor.
Yeah, the
that's-
guy whose name's above the titles,
Yeah.
don't drown him.
And then you go back to when they're on the planet. Oh God, now I can't remember the episode. Sorry, guys, but Daniel's looking back just in case there's a bear that could be running onto set.
Oh,
Remember, you
yeah.
guys were saying they were looking back every now and again just to sort.
Scorched Earth?
Yeah.
It was. That's it.
what
Yes.
Where'd I pull that from?
Oh,
Jesus.
I'd like to see. But it's kind of like, okay, let's just take our chances, and it's kind of cool.
It was bold.
Yeah.
I think that's why I enjoyed this episode. There was just a lot of different stuff. You remember that. You remember that hallway flooding with water. Yeah.
You know what I thought you would have loved it, Lincoln? Ninja Ghoul.
Ninja
Ghoul.
Ghoul. They have samurai swords as well as staff weapons.
Right? When it cuts to him and
Ninja
he's like
Jafar.
pulling the knife
Yeah, that's
out of
what you
his
want.
out of his back
How did
there.
they get-
Slowly.
He
said good.
If you look to the right, you can see his mate Gould is actually holding
Take 2.
two
Ninja
staff
Jafar.
weapons.
Oh, old mate's holding it for him.
He's holding his staff for him,
So he's
he
got
can
his
do
little
the-
bitch.
Yeah, but what I thought they should have done is that Friesen guy should have been decapitated.
Yeah,
Like, not
I
just
thought
stabbed.
he was for a sec.
Yeah, me too. But it was just like
it
tech or
pans
whatever.
around the corner. It kind of trolleys around the corner, and then you see, and you're like, "Oh, he's cut." Oh no,
Yeah,
It's
they
just
could have
his
just
hair.
redressed Daniel's head from Double Jeopardy. Just put a
Yeah.
put a different
Yeah,
wig on that.
yeah.
They've got a severed head
Well, they
floating
could have
around.
just
Yeah.
put it facing the other way, so it would just been some hair. You wouldn't. You didn't really pay much
Yeah.
attention
Put a
to
hat
that
on
dude
it.
anyway.
Missed
so,
opportunity. Missed opportunity.
Yeah.
What was not a missed opportunity though was old Colin Cunningham, Major Davis. He was not actually written in this episode. So when this episode was written, it was just 2 random tech guys, and then they send out the breakdown of the episode and stuff like that. And Colin Cunningham got a hold of it, rang old Brad Wright up, and said, "Hey, don't you reckon Major Davis could be one of these guys?" And Brad Wright went, "You're right."
Yeah.
So Colin Cunningham got to work that week.
What a good
Buzzing.
bloke.
And it kind of...
He's thinking with the paycheck.
How'd he get it?
Yeah.
How'd he get the script?
Yeah.
Like he's chilling around set, just hanging. Hey,
Yeah.
no, I'm on. Yeah, just a cutaway for like
And
the last episode.
Brad
so-
Wright,
Goes to the security guy. Hey, Janice, I just got to pick up something I left in here yesterday.
You haven't been here since season 5. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like,
Brad Wright always tells the joke. He's like something along the lines of like, "It's the first time an actor has ever said they're perfect for a role and actually been right."
It did make me wonder though. Like, imagine if
imagine
they
that.
just made Davis a part of SG-1.
I thought the exact same thing.
He was pretty
the
good.
exact same thing.
He was pretty good.
He is good.
and you would think they would get the same kind of like back and forth what we've loved for 5 years, or loved or hated, depending on whether you're Rhys or not, between Jack and Daniel, that argument over different ideologies or whatever. You would still get that from, even though Davis would be coming at it from a military angle. What I love about that character is that he's that middleman between the Pentagon. He comes at it from a Pentagon point of view,
Yeah.
but he sympathizes with the SGC.
Yes.
Or it's the other way
He's
around,
got a good
where he's like,
moral compass.
I'm with
Yeah.
you guys, but come on, the president wants this, you know? So, like, that you would have still had that conflict, but with a guy that was a little bit more of a good, soldier, field agent.
And even though he's a major, he's on multiple occasions gone toe-to-toe with Hammond and O'Neill and pushed back.
Yeah.
And it's like, so yes, at the end of the day, he's got to
Yeah,
follow
he has.
orders. But it's like, imagine if he joined the team instead. Like, he could have been a really good moral compass. He could have, done a little bit of research on ancient Gould and ancient Egypt and stuff like that. But then in this episode, it also shows that he knows a bit about tech.
So essentially, Davis is like, in Star Wars terms, a grey Jedi. You know,
Oh, I
you
like
know,
that.
He sort of fights the fight on both sides. So yeah, I like Davis.
Yeah, I wish he'd come in to replace Jackson instead. That would have been awesome.
When I was playing KOTOR, the Knights of the Old Republic Star Wars game, you could choose between dark and light. So the first time I played, I'd be dark side.
Yeah.
And then the second time I played, I'm like, I'm going to be light, and the best I could be is grey.
Oh.
It's just so tempting. I'll kill this kid. I don't care.
No,
I need
okay.
his money.
I got a question to ask. Every time Maddie's made a Star Trek reference, we've brought up Maddie's box of shame. Now, we've sort of brought up some Star Wars references. Is there going to be? I know there was a little chat between the boys. Is there going?
Hey, you're only here like once every 18 weeks. Don't start making up
I'm the
rules for
Major
show.
Dave. I'm the Major Davis right now, baby.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, yeah, you're only a major, but you've got some cred dealing with the big guys. We get it.
I want to know because every now and again you lads will throw out a reference to something of that nature. I want to know, is there going to be a box of shame for each one of you guys? Will there be a
That's
communal
something
box of shame?
something I threw out in the group chat. It got no traction apart from Lincoln.
Thank you. Which I thought I'd bring it up now because
Hey, look,
no one else quite responded.
I'm happy to make comparisons to other sci-fis because I'm not. But I only did that because Lincoln was taking a drink, and I just wanted to see what could happen.
Thankfully, he didn't spit all over our expensive equipment. so-
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that Maddie wanted this to be a Star Trek thing, so he made the box of shame just to bring it back a bit. We're happy for the Star Trek references.
Fair enough.
We're happy for the Star. I think the good thing was it is entertaining, but maybe it should be focused on not just shitting on Maddie. It could be if I did bring up Cooper too many times, or if Rhys
Oh
does.
no, there's no such thing as too many
Yeah.
times.
and I feel like these days we all shit on Cooper more than you do.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If anything, you need a quota.
Yeah,
You need to if you have less than if it's less than a certain
less
amount,
than
then
three.
you have to box a shame.
If you don't shit on him 3 times in an episode, your microphone gets turned off.
That's good. I like that actually. That's really good.
Speaking of recurring themes, I know how much we love in this in this room Hammond and his self-destructs. We've always talked about the self-destructs.
So hard.
Someone, I found this online, someone has gone and done the hard yards, and the setting of the self-destruct on this Teal'c is the 34th self-destruct set since the series started.
What?
There's been 34 self-destructs up until this episode, if you count ships and the SGC.
See, there's people in
But
charge
is
that
that-
shouldn't be allowed to play with matches. I feel
Yeah. Does that include just initiating self-destruct?
Yeah, just
So even if it doesn't go off,
even it doesn't go off.
Okay.
Because obviously Hammond set the self-destruct like 4,000 times.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
less than 34 times, I guess. But this is the 34th
That
time
we
the
know about.
self-destruct has been set.
wow.
There really isn't enough self-destructs on anything, is there? Like, imagine buying a toaster and it's like, here's a self-destruct.
We're over 100 episodes. It should be at least 100 self-destructs.
I remember growing up, and Link, you might remember this too. The cigarette lighter in your car. Wait, do you remember why we got told not to touch that? Like, you
I
don't
do.
touch it because it'll burn the shit out of you. If you're a kid and you press it in, whatever, it's going to burn you as a kid. You might burn the car. I think at one stage we actually did, leave a burn mark on one of the seats. So Mum would be displeased with this, as would Dad. But Mum's like, don't touch that. If you touch that, the car will explode.
My dad
She
had
told us that our Toyota had a self-destruct. Now,
awesome.
If you
Being a
leave it
fa-
in, it'll stay in too long,
No,
and
no,
then the
oh,
car
is
will.
that-
Yeah,
no,
no,
I was just-
If you push it in, then that means you can't be taken out, and it'll explode. And
something
stuff
like
like
I don't remember
Yes.
the specifics. It was just touch that, the car will explode. Now I
That's-
know,
that's
as
putting
a
fear in
father of the 3 kids, even just the 2 older ones,
Yeah.
you tell them not to touch anything. That's just encouragement to find new and better ways to touch it.
Yeah.
But for some reason, as a kid, and I would have done that too. It's like, don't play with that. Don't go over here. Don't run in the house. I'm doing all that stuff. For some reason, touch that and the car will blow up. Logic left my brain, and I thought that our car would blow up if I touched that thing.
Yeah.
Like, even now, I don't smoke, so I'm scared. It's like, I need to charge my phone, but I might blow up the car if I touch that.
My dad went very similar, except it was in. They also had like the normal day-to-day car, but then we had a fancy car that was only for special occasions. It was a Mercedes Benz with a sunroof and all that kind of stuff. So we were never allowed to touch anything in there. So Dad said in the Mercedes Benz it was the eject button,
Oh wow.
and it would eject you out through
I
the
would
sunroof.
have pushed that
pressed that.
every day.
Well, no, it's for the
Does it have
driver.
a parachute,
It was the driver's seat only because he explained the whole thing out that it was if you saw that you're about to go into an accident and you knew that you weren't going to be able to brake in time, you just press the eject button and you're out like a pilot in a jet.
Just if you have the best intentions when you think something's going to go wrong, you're like, I'm going to save you, and you push that, and you're like, you lying son of a bitch. Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was an eject button at our house because it was right below the switch for the sunroof as well. So in your mind as a kid, it made logical sense. You hit the sunroof and then you hit the eject button.
Oh well. That'd be a quick ass sunroof.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing.
It'd have to be faster than those doors that are slowly closing on the when this ship in this episode starts to fill up with water. It's just like, oh, the mechanisms are key. It's like, you're like, okay, look, if something was happening really bad, you'd want those doors to shut so fast.
Right.
Like if there's a a break in pressure in space, and it's going to suck everyone out. You want those doors to close really quick. But instead, it's like, you're like, okay, all right, this is going to...
Here's a question, and this is my other kind of weird like plot point in this episode. At the end of the episode, we escape via the glider bay. Why don't we just do that at the start? Like when, like, oh no, the bad ninjas have set us in for a collision course. There's 4 of us, 2 of us are pilots. Let's head to the glider bay.
Yeah, good call.
But he was like, even when he's in the cargo ship with Jonas, he's very robotic. Like the whole Hammond's like, oh, we're all holding our breath down there. That would be unwise, General. It's like, really, mate? You still don't get it. And then Jonas makes a joke later on. He's like, are you suggesting some kind of alien conspiracy?
Honestly, that scene, that might be one of my favourite moments of the entire series so far. That was so brilliant. Just his head turned. Are you suggesting an alien conspiracy?
Snapped it across.
Yeah. And
No,
it's been 20
and then
years.
it cut back, and it's like they're just using the same shot, but he's still staring.
And it's been 20 years, and I still don't know whether he was serious or was making a joke. Like, you just don't know.
I've been warned about your humor.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like-
right. Yeah.
And he's just still staring at it, so deadpan. Go conspiracy! And it's that slow turn away. It's like, all right, wise guy, I'm watching you.
It's like if he'd raised an eyebrow, you're like, oh, okay, he's joking. But it's like he didn't even raise an eyebrow. He was just like, he's just a robot setting back to zero. It was-
Other than that, Teal'c, I think, had one of his best. That was his best, like, comedic moment for me, even if we don't know whether maybe he was joking or not. But I feel like it's a real shame that we don't have Rhys here for this particular point, because I feel like it was one of Teal'c's best action pieces when he did take on the Ninja Jafars, and he, like, around the corner Zat shot with it sideways. He had the kill shot. It's a kill shot. Like around the corner, sideways Zats him, and then, you know, he's ducking, weaving it in and around.
Yeah.
And then when he ducks behind the wall on the left, and then the Jafar comes up to the wall on the right, and then Teal'c's behind that one, just comes out, elbows him in the face, and then point blank zats him in the chest or the face or something. And it's like, that was the best 8 seconds you had ever.
And that round the corner Zat shot is so good it makes the opening credits. It's like it's
So
gonna
does
be over
Jonas's.
for the next couple of years.
So does when Jonas comes around and doesn't shoot anybody. And the credits too.
I just had to reload my Zat. They're an energy weapon. Oh, I'll think of another excuse why I was useless.
It jammed.
But I love that it's like Anubis, who's like the newest, biggest, baddest dude out there, and it's like he didn't leave behind normal Jafar. He left behind like his personal guard ninja Jafar that are just like elite, and Teal'c takes him out. He
And
takes
it
him
didn't
out.
even take him long either.
No.
Didn't even break a sweat, didn't have a scratch. And I love how when Jonah does that moment where he spins around and just opens up his Zat, and the first thing he sees is Teal'c's already cleaning up their mess. He's already picking up their stealth weapons.
Wait, he's been playing Red Dead Redemption. He's already killed them and just immediately looting them. I'll take this and I'll take that. Ooh,
Armor up.
extra that.
Another good Teal'c bit, actually,
Perfect.
the in the truck when they're driving, like when it's Jonas and Teal'c at night in the truck, and they're driving to like the DSRV. You know that. So an interesting little tidbit. That's actually not Teal'c. That is reverse Teal'c.
Oh, really?
So they just set up the camera once, filmed all Jonas's stuff. Then Jonas got out of the car. They put Teal'c in. He filmed it in the exact same spot, and they just mirrored the image to look like he was sitting on the other side of the truck.
Yeah, because his symbol's backwards.
Yeah, if you look
Yeah,
really,
right.
really closely, his serpent is back to front because they figured that was easier to hide than like Jonas's hair part would be on the wrong side or whatever it was. But I was like, that was kind of interesting. That's
They do that a lot
quick
in
way
movies.
to-
You can see that, and they just chuck it in. It's obvious.
Oh,
some
some
of them's really obvious, like where it is the part. You're like, dude, and the guy's face isn't symmetrical,
yeah.
so you can tell like he's looking in a mirror or something, just because they shot on that wrong side of the line.
Yeah.
There's an imaginary line when you're filming. You're not meant to cross the camera over that angle because it will confuse the audience.
I tend to have a good ear for when there's like really bad ADR that's been subbed in.
Yeah.
Like, some TV shows, it's just so bad. It's just like completely different tone, intonation, audio quality, and it just...
Get people when they're talking a little bit like this and they're really distressed, and then it's the
Yeah.
back of their head and it's like, "Hi there, Matty, how are you?" It's like, what? No, you're not outside. You're in a room and you're happy.
This might be a stretch for anyone listening to a Stargate podcast, but...
Oh, look, he's on the screen. He's working. Rhys on screen doing the
Rhysy.
traffic. Oh, g'day, buddy.
You made it, bro.
This might be a bit of a stretch for anyone listening to a Stargate podcast, but just recently,
Recently, you say?
RuPaul's Drag Race just finished a season. It's like a reality show type thing. And what they did is they got to the final episode, and they've got 2 final contestants that are about to win. So they filmed one because it was filmed like a year ago. They filmed one contestant winning, then filmed the other contestant winning, and then they just decided later on who's going to do it. Well, they decided in post-production that they were going to do a double win, and both people were going to win. So they just did this really bad voiceover from RuPaul and just intercut bits of one person winning and bits of the other person winning and tried to make it all look like it was happening live.
Yeah.
And the fandom went crazy and went, what is this bullshit?
Yeah.
So it was just like this really bad editing and really bad ADR all mixed in together. It was terrible.
No Stargate in this episode.
Oh, no Stargate in this episode. But I'm going to say...
That just came to my mind.
Yeah, you're right. Shit. But the Stargate administration, what is their sort of process like when they're hiring scientists? Because as far as what we've seen, their scientists do not do what they're told.
Yeah,
even
right.
if they're on another planet or in space.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, well, if it's a moon, go right ahead.
Thank you. When we're first introduced to Jennifer Haley, you have the scientist that's in charge. I can't remember his name because he's a wanker.
Yeah,
but
good
he's
call.
like, don't go near the bright, shiny...
caves and shit.
Yeah, don't go near there. And he just decides he's going to eventually do it. And first he tries, and O'Neill catches him out because he's like, he's polishing his M16. It's like, no, actually, it's a P90. He's like, oh, you caught me. Anyway, so he's been told once. And then later on he does it, and then it works out in his favour for like 5 minutes. And he's like, yeah, I'm the best thing in the world. And then it turns out shit for him.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, cool. Don't go near the shield generators just for a while. He's like, why do you want to do it? Just to look at them. Just to look at them. He's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, don't do it. And just do what you're supposed to do. Okay, I got to go do that. That's fine. Just stay away. Okay, cool. I'm going to walk away. Oh, he's going around the corner. It's literally like a 5-year-old child.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you're gone. I'm going to go anyway.
That's what happens, kids.
I feel
Ninjas
like-
will get you.
I feel like there's like in the SGC like HR department, there's like a Statler and Waldorf, and one of them is like, oh, this guy's shit, he's not gonna be any good, and then the other one is like, yeah, but Daniel's a civilian and he worked out all right, and it's like he wins every time we get a shithouse civilian. It's like, well, Daniel turned out all right, and it's just like, well, I can't compete with that because he
Daniel
did open the
Jackson.
Stargate.
It's like that lawyer on South Park using the Chewbacca method. They can never argue against it. So it's just like, damn it. Yeah, he's using the Chewbacca method. It's just like, but Daniel, okay, all right, you win again. Yeah. So I don't even care that doctor died or whatever his scientist, whatever.
No.
I don't even care that ninjas cut him down.
and it makes me,
If anything, they did the SGC a favor.
and it makes me wonder too. It's like, did the original script have both scientists dying? And then when Colin Cunningham wrote himself into it, they went, well, we're not going to kill off Major Davis.
You know that happened. Absolutely that happened.
Or Major Davis has gone, oh, that guy dies. I can't be that character. Oh, I can be this one over here that doesn't die, though.
I know we were speaking about it the other week about how glad we are that rings are still a thing and that we wish that they just kept with the rings. Like that's the mode of quick transportation, other than the Stargate, obviously. Quick, short transportation within the Stargate universe are the rings because they're cool, they're unique to Stargate.
Yeah.
They looked really fucking cool in this episode when they ringed out Jonas. And the whole like tube of water came
God,
with
that
him.
was sick.
And it didn't fall apart until all the rings were gone, and then you just had this suspended animated tube of water and sloshes out everywhere. And I'm like, oh god, Brendan's gonna have loved that.
Yeah. Look, I hate to say it, but even my beloved Star Trek can't top that. That is
so
just
good.
epic.
There
Just
was
the science
more
behind
wetness
that.
on Brendan's floor than there was on the floor of that ship.
I just love it how he had to time it, do, and then kind of back up, press the button, then dive into the rings.
Kick off, yeah.
And then just, so good.
So good.
And then he landed on his back, which didn't make sense.
Well, you don't want to land on your front.
Well, he was on his front when the rings came up, that's all. Minor details,
I think
but
there's one
cool
person to blame
cylinder.
for that. Meet your quota, Brendan. Meet your quota, mate.
It was actually, and as cool as it was, I know they're working on
That's the
TV
John
budget
Paul
and it's
episode.
week to week, blah blah blah. But that the
It was
CGI,
Cooper's idea, though.
the CGI did look pretty poor. Once the water hit the floor and was like bouncing off the walls, and
Yeah.
come back and hit Jonas, it was like
Yeah.
he was fine. He wasn't covered in any water, and then all of a sudden there was just like 2 different layers of water over top of his legs, and then they were just gone again. I'm like, I know water's very hard to create digitally. It's like water and fire. We just still haven't.
They should have just let
managed
it go out and not bother coming back.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's like there's that many
it's a
hallways.
big ship. Yeah.
Didn't need to come back.
Yeah.
We'd got the effect.
Yeah, that was very cool. Very cool.
There's a cool little behind the scenes point.
No sand in that water though.
No,
Obviously.
no.
Yeah, they didn't put the water filter on. Like the Toker have got the sand filter on when they were on their planet. But obviously, the ships don't have the water filter.
The vacuum filter.
So, but another cool little thing to watch out for in the Jacob and Davis scenes on the Teal'c. Our beloved late great Carmine Genzianzo, who passed away a couple of weeks ago.
The man.
Now, there's 2 points, and I don't know which one that is, but there's one point where Carmen is about to stand up. He's been injured, and he's about to stand up, and Davis grabs his arm and pulls him up, and he kind of winces and goes, oh. And then later on in that scene, after they've saved the day or whatever, Davis pats him on the shoulder really, really hard. He's like, ah! One of those times was actually Carmen wasn't expecting that, and that's an act. He was actually annoyed at Davis for doing that because he wasn't expecting it. So that was a real reaction of him in pain because he just wasn't expecting Davis to hit him that hard.
Oh,
but I don't know which one because there's 2 points where Davis touches him and he kind of
deal with it.
Yeah, right.
I say.
Wow.
Yep, go with it. Go with the flow.
I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
And
Don't break character, mate.
Yep.
And speaking of the Teal'c, Anubis's big throne with the big drapes over it. That's actually Daniel's chair from Absolute Power. His evil lair throne. They just pulled that out of storage, threw some drapes over it, and that's Anubis's throne.
Yeah, I think for a lot of this episode, it was just it's kind of that season premiere hangover that we usually get in every season, where they've thrown out all the money, and then it's just like, all right, we'll just be quiet for a couple of weeks. And even at the start of this, I'm like, this isn't really grabbing me. They're telling me a lot of cool stuff, with Thor, and then this is the ship, and it's Anubis, and people are missing and whatever. But it was actually when old mate scientists, went missing, and then they're hunting around. It was just what is going on? It was actually the mystery rather than the story and the backstory of this episode that kept me going, because I like that mystery element long enough for the story to almost catch up, and then it be more about Thor's consciousness is here, and he's basically, has he brought this ship to us, to help us out, or was it just a defense mechanism against the Gould and all this sort of stuff? But I liked, it was a bit of a different flavour for a Stargate episode, where it wasn't this whodunit almost, a mystery sort of thing, the creep in the corner, the hidden threat sort of thing, and the fact that they were Ninja, Jafar, who we don't see after Teal'c knocks that guy to the ground and point blanks him in the face. We didn't even see that guy hit the floor, and we never see them after that. Really,
because he ringed him into space.
That was just
either that or they're in,
totally.
or they're
straight
in
into the
Guantanamo Bay.
water. They're being eaten by low diving sharks, which would be kind of cool.
I just realised something. Because I just said, he just pressed the flush button. Remember we were talking a couple of seasons ago about whether the the cargo ships have a toilet or not?
Yeah.
We talked about facilities. Why wouldn't they just take a shit in the middle of the rings and then just wring it out?
Yeah, I thought we said that.
Did
Take
we?
a dump on the rings.
Yeah,
I think
we
so.
might have.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, in your
we can cut that
defense,
bit out.
it'll probably get lost in all the other poo chat that we have on this. And how much other poo we want to send other places via great technology.
Actually, that let's just give that a second. Can you imagine?
Let's just mull on that.
Yeah. Can you imagine being at going to a home world, one of the System Lord home worlds, and you just you go there and you go there in a cloaked
Chilling in
cargo
orbit.
ship. Yeah, you just go cloaked. You go into the atmosphere and everything, and then you just sit above, and you know that they've got their dudes waiting everywhere on guard, and even in their main sort of temple bit, they have something there, so the System Lord can just get off his throne, stand straight on the rings, ring aboard his mothership. So can you imagine just going and someone's just got mad gastro, so he just has the squirts, so you just chocolate sneeze into the rings, and then all of a sudden press the button, and then Lord Yu or something like that just opens up, and he's just got the big curry night going on.
What is this shit in
But
here?
I know it's impossible because everyone on the ship died, but you think that imagine the rumors go around about Ra, and the way that Ra went was because they had this bomb got ringed into his ship.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Second, and they were like, "Whoa, that'd be such a bad way to go," and they just start getting poo ringed into their places. This is so much worse than a Naquadah infused nuclear bomb. I would rather die. I would rather die with a bomb in my face rather than Teal'c shit all over me.
He just gets some pouch juice.
Oh, hang on, that was
Throws
Jonas
it in
shit. Oh, why would you do that?
I'd like it if the guy just did big Mr. Whippy style one in the middle of the rings.
Just an
ringed
emoji. Just a perfect
and
emoji.
Exactly right. Emoji poo. You ringed it down when no Jafar were in there, so it's just sitting there.
Oh, so the smell
Some dudes just walk, just smelling.
Festus.
They walk in. What is that? And they just step in it, like, oh god damn it,
Graham,
it's like a prank.
Did you bring your
They're
cat
just
in again?
shitting in each other's rings. Not again.
Oh, there's so
Graham.
many possibilities, Graham.
Apologies to any Grahams that listen. Like, we love
Great
you.
people.
Great people.
I want to sponsor the show.
Yeah, jump on a Patreon. We'd love to see more Grahams pop up. Well, we're doing a Patreon shout out at the end of the episode. I'd love for there to be a Graham next week.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, so we're in a new season, so I thought I'd introduce a new segment that we can try out for this season. Obviously, of the, normally 5 of us in the room, I'm obviously the linguist and the champion of accents. Like, I'm the best one here at doing accents, obviously.
Especially the Irish and the Scottish.
Right?
Yeah.
So I thought, well, let's find out what other languages, how they're experiencing Stargate. In a little segment I'm going to call...
Yeah.
I don't know how loud it is.
Oh, Daft Punk. Great soundtrack to Tron Legacy. If you haven't checked that out, check that bad boy out. Fantastic.
They got some royalties if they want to throw that towards Patreon.
Great people.
Yeah.
Right.
Chuck your
I
mask
said
on
that.
and send us some money.
Long time. For a long time.
This little section.
Around the world?
Yeah, we're
Around
going to
the
go
world.
around the world, and we're going to find out what other...
Brendan just thought I picked a song at random. That's all.
right.
It was like that on Taylor Swift.
Find out what these episodes are called in other languages.
Oh.
Oh, I like it.
I like this.
So first we're going to go to France and speak the French and find out what they say in France. It is called Réunion, which
Reunion.
translates to reunion. This episode is called Reunion in France.
Is it?
I thought they were just trying to pronounce the Riol.
The Riol.
I know that there is an alien species.
Can you
called
say
Riol.
croissant?
Croissant?
Oh, good shit. Yeah.
Perfect.
Croissant.
I'd buy one off you.
It's like
Sounds
wiping your
legit.
ass with silk. I love it.
And then we go to, it's a Mi Mario in Italian. We go into Italian. And they call it Conto alla rovescia, which is countdown. It translates to.
Oh,
this
that's
episode's
hard.
called Countdown.
34 episodes so far have been
Yeah.
titled Countdown.
And I don't know how to do a Spanish accent without sounding really racist, so I'm not even going to try.
Oh,
I've got to work on the...
Sorry.
What?
Now
Hang
he's
on.
worried?
Why is it racist?
Because Spanish
The other
covers,
ones aren't?
Because Spanish covers like 10 different countries. So it's-
what?
So I don't have a good Spanish accent ready yet, okay?
It's not like we don't have French or Italian people in
Yeah.
in this like country.
Yeah, but that's French is like
French
from
Canadian.
France. Yeah, which they immigrated from France. Anyway.
Well, yeah, so did the Spanish people. Immigrated from Spain. Come on, get into it. Let's do it. Give us your best
no.
Mexican.
I wanted to get past this one really quick because it's just descenso, which is descent. Like it doesn't actually have.
Hey, look, here's a way to make it not racist, okay? Just imitate a character, even if
Yeah.
it's a caricature. Be Speedy Gonzales.
Yeah.
Great cartoon
Oi,
character from back in the
Go
day.
stand behind that wall and do it.
Oh, I see what you did there.
A good wall.
No, I wanted.
Tremendous wall.
Ironically, I wanted to get past this one quickly because it's just descent. It's descent. They didn't actually name anything.
Oh, El Descento.
Yeah.
See? Perfect.
Well, it's descenso. Descenso.
El Descenso.
Um,
Or El Salvadorian.
here's one Brendan can relate
El
to.
descenso.
Czech. How the episode is translated in Czech is havari, which means crash. I don't know.
How's that spelled?
HAVA with a little thingy RIE.
Oh, yeah.
Over to Hungary.
The A is kind of like a double A, I believe. It's got that.
Havari.
Yeah,
Havari.
you got it.
Boom. Over to Hungary. Zuhanas,
Mm.
which translates to dive. And finally to the German. I love the German. I love a bit of German. Ooh. My name is Hans. Call me Hermann. We're having fun on the Autobahn.
And that's not racist.
No.
Who's worried about Spanish?
But
No,
El
'cause
Mariachi
I-
is. Oh, for God's sake.
No, I stole that from Craig Ferguson. That's why it's not racist.
Oh, now it's
yeah.
less
Yeah.
racist.
Yeah.
Scotsman doing
He's a
that.
Scotsman doing a German accent. And it translates as not landing, which is emergency landing.
I feel that they're probably the most off point than anything else because
Yeah.
it's not the emergency landing. It's a crash landing.
Yeah.
So and
Correct.
they had no chance of of landing it at all.
They should have called it Sully.
But aren't Germans the one that call an
The
orgasm
Tom
a little
Hanks
death?
movie.
Tom,
Sully, great.
Hanks would have done the voice of Thor in this episode.
Can we get serious now?
Is it
Great
the Germans
movie,
or
great
the French,
people.
though,
Yeah.
that call an orgasm a little death?
Who does?
Either the French or the Germans.
Remember the French, mate? They love a root.
Orgasm translates to the little death.
Oh, well, if the little fella's got nowhere to
They're,
go.
just,
then
they're
eventually-
clearly doing it wrong if they're calling it a little death. Who's
So-
ever had sex and went, oh, I feel like a little piece of me just died then?
Oh, I have.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, generally.
Depends what
generally,
you do it with.
But I mean, it's the whole Kurt Ugly thing. It's just like, oh god, what have I done?
Yeah. Good segment, Matty. Bit racist, but I liked it.
Oh, we'll bring it back next week. See what happens.
Absolutely.
I haven't even watched this episode in a fair while, so I'm going to recapping off the memory bank, but let's go for this shit.
You want me to do it?
Oh.
To you?
Yeah,
All right,
do it
then.
to me. I love when you do it. I mean, I'm sorry, what?
It's time to find out if Lincoln's been paying
Paying attention.
Is that how Rhys feels every
All
week? It's awesome.
right. Lincoln,
Yo.
30 seconds on the clock. 5 questions. Time starts at the end of this. In the episode Descent, what did Jacob say we can't slap onto the side of the mothership?
A US Air Force sticker.
Correct. What did Jonas pull out of his vest in the cargo ship?
A banana.
Correct. How did Teal'c and Jonas enter the mothership?
Via the submarine docked, and then they did it through some little tubey thing that they through the
Which tubes?
through the escape pod tubes.
Correct. What was the name of the doctor who was killed?
Freezing.
Correct. What did Teal'c think was the most unwise?
Holding your breath.
Correct. It's done. That's how you do it.
This is so
That's how it's done. Too easy. 5 out of 5. Well done.
Rhys.
Yeah, baby.
Brilliant.
Good shit.
I mean, if he hadn't
Oh,
got those,
I would have got out and walked.
right,
Yeah.
I would've
you would have
walked.
been more disappointed than any of us possibly could have been.
Mitch, you would have been Ubering home. Honestly, I would have just left.
I thought you were going to up with the escape pod tubes.
So did I.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
you're like, how they do
Very
it, and I was
close.
thinking of like, okay, maybe it had to have been like a, you know, those things on work sites where it's a yellow tube, the workers can sort of slide like a slippery slide kind
Oh,
of
like
thing.
the
I think
Home
it's
Alone 2.
They chuck yeah, that thing.
It's for rubbish.
Yeah, it's for rubbish.
I know, but it's on Home Alone 2. They slide down.
It's a slippery
Hey,
slide.
movies are right, and on the
What do you tradies think you work so hard for? You got a slippery slide that you can work in all day.
hey, if
I've
Home
seen you
Alone
do it
has
from the
taught me
27th
anything,
floor.
boys, it's that. So
Yeah.
don't with me, all right?
It's the best part of
How
a
many
plane.
movies have you watched, and that's how they get away from trouble? That's
Yeah,
right.
you're right.
The best,
Everyone's doing it wrong.
the best part of a plane crash landing in the water is the slide you get out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's time for the Get
Get
Into
into Geek. Surprise
Hairy
mailbag.
Surprise.
Surprise. Yeah, that's probably would be better.
So we've decided that we're going to try and do the Hairy Mailbag weekly.
Yeah.
Try and keep on top of all this.
I mean, everyone.
Wonderful mail.
I mean, everyone loves to empty their bag weekly, right?
I have a weekly. Yeah, I have a weekly mailbag.
I mean, I'd empty it daily if I could, and sometimes I
Yeah.
do, but just at home by myself. No,
What do you mean by that?
that double entendre
I've
doesn't
told
work.
you not to leave us out of that either. Well, like, it's better when we're.
Oh, I've got videos I can show you.
So we got a couple of iTunes reviews. One's really good. I want to wait for Rhys to come back so we read this one. But this one is from Dave Hancock on iTunes. 5 stars. 5 stars just isn't enough. It's that awesome.
Legend.
Whether you've been a Stargate fan for 20 years or nervously taking your first step through the event horizon, this is the podcast for you. The Get Into Gate team veteran knowledge of all things Stargate, fresh perspective, quality banter, balanced with some serious topics. Some, I reckon. I added that bit. In-depth discussion of Grogan's, absolutely, both the character and what would happen when one slides or slops through the Stargate. Or rings, for that matter, which we've discussed this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And genius love for the show delivers week after week of gold that somehow continues to get better after more than 100 episodes. Why wait? Get into Gate. Keep it up, boys. Wow. Dave Hancock.
Well done.
It's not
One of
bad.
the great
Well done,
reviews.
I always love when they bring in like terminology from the show as part of their vernacular.
Absolutely.
Just that extra little bit of
that
effort.
person's a solid fan.
There is another review. I want to wait for Rhys.
Yeah, definitely.
Which isn't as good as Dave Hancock's. I'm going to say that straight away.
Speaking of not as good as Dave Hancock's review, we've got a couple of comments and respondents to Brendan's Daniel Jackson tribute, his Elton John
Oh,
tribute.
the Ode to Daniel,
from
yeah,
a
one of the
couple
great
weeks ago.
songs.
It's been very polarizing.
I mean, I've been humble, guys.
Yeah.
but it's the greatest song ever made.
On Twitter, Holly Corbett says, at the Brennan Gibson doing a rendition of Elton John's Daniel on Get Into Gate is quite possibly the best fan-made tribute I've ever heard. Next level, amazing.
Wow.
Obviously, she was joking.
Thank you, Collie.
no,
she wasn't.
You sent us a screenshot of that, and you followed it up with a kid crying, like your best fan-made tribute? Question mark.
I think I sent that to Holly as well because I was like, I've made a lot of tributes.
She was
But
joking.
no, that's fine. That's fine.
It's clear tongue in cheek. there.
And old mate, you guys call him Eric Fusco. I prefer to call him Eddie Fusco.
Yeah.
You know. He says, are you guys familiar with the American slang douche chills? If not, it's the same feeling you had listening to the Daniel song parody.
It's not a parody. I don't know where you're getting this from.
Yeah, that's incorrect there, Eddie. Eddie Eric, whatever your real name is.
Yeah.
How's your mum, by the way? A bit of fun.
Well, it's funny you mentioned mums.
Is it? Okay.
Because on Brendan's been in charge. He's been doing this amazing poll that's been running, like a character v character poll that we've been running on our Facebook page for the last couple of weeks.
Which is causing no controversy because everyone's taking it exactly the way that it's intended.
Yeah.
The only thing that got me really pissed off, if I can just jump in there really quick, is the latest poll. And I had to voice my concerns. Thankfully,
Which
it was
one is that?
Walter versus Thor.
Yeah, look, that's the way the cookie crumbles,
You
mate.
know, and
We're into round 2 now, aren't
that
we?
was
Yeah,
hard.
we're in round 2.
I've actually had to abstain from some. I've voted on most of them, but a couple I've just had to abstain. I just went, you know what, I can't choose. Like when I got to O'Neill v Mayborn, I'm just like, you know what, I can't choose. I can't choose. I'm not going to.
I mean, people get quite upset.
I was.
Who does this? I don't think anyone thinks about it.
I was.
No, I haven't thought about it. I've thought nothing about it.
Just quietly, I was extremely pissed when Weir lost to Baal. I was not happy about that.
I was expecting that.
I wasn't.
No, that's
No one
fair.
likes
Anyway,
Weir.
if you go and have a look at the Young Johansson poll, those are characters from Stargate Universe, for those who are unaware.
Yeah, that's me.
We get a comment here from someone called Linda Barney, and she says, "Hi Dan, how are you? Kiss, 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 kiss." To which our old mate Dan Pucci replies, "This is my mum." So Dan Pucci's mum has gotten onto Facebook. Probably doesn't quite understand it yet.
Dan shared the post, and then Dan's mum
and then
jumped
she's
on.
commented on it.
Yeah.
But it's commented on our post, not his shared post.
Yeah.
So Linda then says, LOL, sorry Dan, is this your Star Trek-y thing? Kiss, kiss. And then Dan replies, no mum, this is someone else's Stargate thingy. Say hello, they're Australian. To which his mum replies,
Boy,
oops.
this is unbelievable.
I'm not making this up either. Linda then replies, oops, sorry, hello Australia. And then a few of our listeners jumped in and said, hi.
Pooch goes, nice.
Nice. So a
Nice
few people are, hi Dan's mum, all that kind of stuff. And then she replies to some of them. Holly said, hi Dan's mum, to which she says, hi Holly, how are you and where are you? So,
You gotta love mums on Facebook,
Yeah.
don't you?
They're taking over.
Yeah.
not only is Pooch one of our favourites, but I think his mum is now one of our favourites as well.
Yeah.
Well, until she sends us a voicemail.
Well,
Yeah.
Dan will probably come first.
that's true.
But she could out-pooch the pooch, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Imagine that on a Stargate poll. The Pooch versus Mama Pooch.
Oh, I thought you were going to
God,
say
yeah.
imagine Dan's mum on a poll. And I was like,
Oh,
whoa!
no.
Come on, buddy.
No.
Oh, shit.
Chris Birch hit us up on Facebook. The Serpent's Venom, he says. Catching up with the last year plus worth of Get Into Gate. Just finished season 4 and had to see if Wizard was on Pandora, right? Of course, Wizard being the masterful band that gave us Serpents, the Serpent's Venom. So they are. And along with having a couple other track names as shared title episodes, there's also a few choice track names that are good for a chuckle. And so he's just sent on their sort of back catalogue. They've got Thor's Hammer remastered. The first one,
I didn't see that.
I don't think I'll ever listen to that one.
Zing!
Oh, you
Meta.
You
Very meta.
dirty
I like
creep.
it.
Caught in the Act. Oh, we've all been there.
yeah.
On your knees.
Well, we've all been there.
Remastered.
Reese isn't here, to be honest.
On your knees remastered.
Pounding the
don't forget.
Night.
Oh,
Great people.
That's a good playlist, actually.
Yeah.
Caught in the act, on your knees, pounding in the night.
Yeah, the first one.
There's a playlist.
The first.
With your Thor's hammer. Sounds like an end of season wrap up. Yeah, that's split over. I mean, just from the artwork alone, that looks like it's split over a couple of different albums
is,
as well.
yeah.
So, Wizard with the back catalogue, go check them out.
Done.
Great people in Germany.
I love the Germans.
Oh, one of the OGs written back. Ashley O.G. Hello again, she says. It's been a while. How are things? That's great. See? She just naturally assumes we're going well.
She left a space for us
And
too
that's-
there.
exactly, yeah.
Which I think was very considerate.
Not big enough, considering there's 4, sometimes 5 of us.
Mate, it's never big enough.
Who, me? I'm good too. Thanks for asking. So she's having a one-way conversation. It's fantastic because we're like friends, mate. I'm a little tired at the moment. I've decided that 1 a.m. was a good time to combine all 5 seasons so far into a spreadsheet with colours that match the DVD cover art.
Spreadsheet.
She should join our show.
Love
Not only
it.
is she doing things at 1 a.m., but she's
Absolutely.
whacking a
Don't
spreadsheet.
talk dirty
into
to
it.
Brendan with spreadsheets.
I haven't done the top 3 overall of all the seasons yet because I haven't got that far. I spent far too much time on colours and readability than actual stuff that translate effectively over an audio medium. And as I've done with past seasons, a short description on why they are in that order. So she's actually broken down her top 7, middle 7, and horseshit 7, as we like to call it. So, I mean,
But not only that, just done a full kind of paragraph per episode of what she thought, which is pretty amazing. There's a lot of content here, and I think, Ash, you should write a blog. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh.
A lot of people would like to read this. Obviously, we can't say all of it on air for time constraints, but if you want, you can do like a Word thing or whatever they do, WordPress. We'll share that on the Facebook site. 'Cause that's
Yeah, that's
good
great
quality.
Because it's honestly more work than we put into a season
Totally,
wrap.
totally.
Like, we
Mitch
just rock,
does it on the day.
Yeah, we just rock it and have a
sometimes
rank.
during the show.
Sometimes.
We just rock it and have a rank together. We don't really put much
That's
prep
correct.
into it. We like to get caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
So,
But otherwise,
No,
she
that's brilliant.
just a bit of a teaser for that hopeful blog that she'll put up. Her top 3 and bottom 3, pretty much on par with us. Actually, what we did a couple of weeks ago. Her bottom 3, third worst was Ascension, then The Fifth Man,
Yeah.
and Sentinel was the
Solid.
worst one.
You're-
And top 3, Meridian.
Yeah.
Which I don't think made our top 3. It was it was up there somewhere. Enemies and Thresholds as a part 1, part 2, which we didn't do. We had Summit and Last Stand as a double
Yeah.
up, but Enemies and Threshold, which they do obviously carry over with the brainwashing thing, but she has put them together.
Last Stand is so good.
And yeah, well, Summit Last Stand was my top. I think it was collectively the second best episode of our show.
It was my second one.
And it was your second one, so she's got that as her as a number 1. So Ashley O, the OG, chuck it up in a blog. And send us a link, and we'll share it and share your thoughts on all the episodes like you've done here, and post it to everyone. Speaking of people making contact, these guys have reached out and joined our Patreon page, which we do thank you plenty of getting involved. Just since we're really kicking off season 6 and ending season 5, so big thanks to first up to Nick Roger. Gave it a good. Nick's he's been giving a good rogering. So thank you for joining the.
Depending what he pledges, he can give me a good rogering if he wants.
And sometimes not even. It's just hey,
if you're in town.
Callum McReachin
Ooh,
Richie.
reached around to get the rogering. So we're making a great community. Catherine Norris. Kelly W. I like that. Doesn't need to give us the last name, just W.
Ooh.
Sounds like some kind of alias.
I like
Kelly
that.
W. It's a fake name, Kelly. It's a fake name. And Nicholas Wood. Wood, McReachin, and Roger.
Major
This
Wood.
is a very, Major Wood. It's a very sexual new group of patrons.
That
there, but
writes itself. There might be some fanfic in that.
thank you for jumping on board, and welcome to the wonderful world that is regular updates on the Gibson Brothers podcast.
Yeah. And speaking of wood, a special shout out to one of our guest fist bends, Craig, our military expert, just become a father for the first time.
Congratulations.
Wow, well
So
done.
congratulations, little baby boy.
And we never saw him again.
Well, I'm not allowed to see him for 2 months because I haven't got my
You jabbed.
my jabs.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can't.
You're
I was about to go.
Whooping
I was about to go blue card. Or...
All right, that's episode 114 of Get Into Gate. We will be back next week to talk the episode that is called
Let it go, let it go. Frozen.
Yes. Not the movie, even though a sequel's coming out at the end of the year. So get set, parents of young daughters. It starts all over again. But we get to talk about Stargate Frozen, so join us back next week. Until then, you can check out all of our old episodes on all of our podcasting channels. As I walked into the studio to record this episode, one of my co-workers said, Get Into Gate. Where can I find that? And I'm like, everywhere.
Yeah.
You want a podcast?
If one of your workmates doesn't know where to find Get Into Gate, you are not doing your job properly.
That's true.
He does make a good point.
Okay. You know what? Actually, I did do a good job promoting this show on my radio station, and I'm going to play that for you guys next week.
Boom.
Okay? I'll prove that I'm promoting our show on probably the biggest platform that I have. So
Nicely done.
you can check that out next
Well done,
week.
sir.
Get in touch with us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the socials. Just search Get Into Gate, a Stargate podcast. Drop us a long-form line, getintogate@gmail.com, or you can be like Roger and Major Wood and Catherine there, even Kelly W., even if you don't have a real name or half a name, join us at patreon.com/Get Into Gate.
Magreach into Patreon.
Oh, well done.
Oh, love it. You can, lower your morals and descent into what is
Oh.
Yeah, it's probably the most
Patreon.
apt
Descent
description
into,
you've ever given.
descent into the one and only place you can find the Gibson podcast.
Otherwise, find us all individually. You want to come and talk some Gate or pretty much anything. Social media, we're an open book, and take advantage of that. I'm Mitch_Lewis on Twitter and Instagram. Matty
At High Pitch Matty.
Brendan
At the Bren Gibson.
Reese isn't here. You can check him out. The Flying Gibson,
Flying cuckold.
Yeah, sure, something like that. You know it's true, Reese. Lincoln, where are you at?
At Link_Lewis.
He
And
did
it was
do the-
so hard not to do. And there are.
You probably thought, at least we're not tagging Reese, so it's not the Brendan Gibson, the Flying Gibson, and then I threw it out. And you're like, damn it, my preparations.
Thank God. Oh, my brain.
We'll catch you back next week to talk Frozen.
And for those wondering, it was a Congress of Baboons.
Oh, wouldn't have thought so.
Get Into Geek.